And we'll restart the music and get going. Okay, well, welcome everyone. My name is Amanda, and I am so happy all of you are here today. As a reminder that anything that we do today is totally optional. If something doesn't feel good, you definitely do not have to do it. You can take a modification, take child pose, or anything just to settle you back, coming back to that breath. No need to stress out the body and feel like you have to do something. Today, we're going to work a lot on our warriors. I want you guys to feel really strong because, we've been going through a lot these past few months, and it just shows how resilient we are. And warrior poses are so great just to strengthen us and just find our groundedness. So just keeping that in mind, maybe for your intention today. So we're going to start in a nice seated position. You can have your legs crossed, or even you can have them out straight if that doesn't feel good on the knees or hips. You can always sit on a pillow or a block to give you a little more leverage if that feels good. So wherever you are, begin to ground the sit bones into the earth and then lengthen up the spine with a breath in. As you exhale, begin to roll the shoulders down the spine, just softening in. And if you need to sway a little side to side before actually settling in, you can do that. Depending on how our morning went, sometimes it's hard to just come into stillness right away. So finding that ease, finding that harmony with the body and the breath. And just bringing awareness to the breath. If you notice it a little more shallow or a little short, just intentionally deepening and slowing down each breath in. And with every breath out, making it a little bit longer, a little bit deeper. And then if it resonates with you, you can set an intention for your practice today. It can be a positive affirmation or releasing something that no longer serves or benefits you. Or maybe it's just telling yourself that you are strong, that anything that life throws at you, you'll be here in the present, grounded. And then we'll just take another sip of air in through the nose. Nice soft exhale. Keeping the eyes closed or heavy, begin to take the chin towards the chest. Then we'll slowly roll the neck to the right, towards the back, circling to the left, and back down to the front. And then when you're ready, just reversing it nice and slow. On your next breath, then begin to take the gaze towards the middle and just blinking the eyes open, nice and soft. On your next breath in, we're going to raise the arms, looking in between the thumbs, reaching nice and long. And then exhale, just let the arms float down towards your side. 2 more times. Inhale, begin to open up, stretching nice and long, and then exhale down. Last time, inhale, gathering all that energy up. And then exhale, releasing. We're going to take the right fingertips off to the side And then inhale that left arm all the way up. And then if it feels good, exhale, begin to lean over to the right, maybe a little soft bend in the elbow. You can always have a hand on a prop like a block or a pillow to give you a little more leverage. And then rooting that left sit bone down into the ground, feeling that nice side body stretch. On your next breath in, we'll lift both arms all the way up. Gaze can look in between the thumbs. And then exhale, left hand meets the ground, right arm lifts all the way up. And then exhale, leaning over to the left just a bit. And then backing off if something doesn't feel good. Big breath into that side. And then exhale, let it go. Inhale the arms all the way up. And then exhale, we'll lean back over to the right. So just hanging out here for a bit. Maybe going a little deeper if it feels good enough. Or if you're with me, maybe take that top arm and begin to open up, kind of like a mini back bend. And then swinging the arm nice and controlled. Doing nice big circles. And the gaze can follow the fingertips, giving some mobility in the neck and shoulders. We'll just do this one more time wherever you're at. And then on your next inhale, lengthening up. And then exhale, moving, leaning to the left side. So again, maybe deepening that side body stretch. Maybe opening up that right arm, looking past that shoulder. And then just circling the arm if it feels good. Just feeling that open gentleness in the front of the body and the side at the same time. And if you ever need to hold a pose, maybe breathe through it, see if there's any tension, and then letting it go. We'll just do one more round again, wherever you're at. And we'll inhale both arms all the way up, lengthening. And then exhale, just float the arms down. So taking the hands or fingertips right behind you, we'll inhale, pull the chest towards the ceiling, gaze looks up. Stay here if this is enough. Maybe lift the hips just an inch or two up. And then exhale, taking it all the way back down. And then we'll walk the hands out in front of us. So maybe sway a little side to side. You can come into stillness right away if that feels better. Maybe taking a little walk and twist to the left, seeing what's going on. And then maybe just walking the hands to the other side. Each side is going to feel a little different, and that's okay. And maybe the forearms come down onto the blocks or to a pillow. And just take a big breath in. Big breath out. When you're ready, we'll slowly walk the hands all the way back up. If your legs are crossed, just crossing the one in the back towards the front. It might feel a little different because this is your least dominant side, but just balancing ourselves out. So on your next breath in, we're going to inhale the arms up again. Exhale, this time begin to twist over to the right. The right fingertips behind you, left fingertips on top of that left knee or right knee. Inhale, lengthen up the spine. And then exhale, begin to twist a little more to the right. Nothing too intense. Full breath in. Full breath out, coming back towards center. Inhale the arms up. And then exhale, twisting, spinning towards the left. Inhale, lengthening up. And then exhale, moving into that space you just created. One breath in. One breath out. And then coming back towards center. So again, we'll walk the hands towards the back. You can take the chest up towards the ceiling, or if you want to clasp your hands this time, Pull the knuckles down the tailbone towards the floor and then opening up the chest. Exhale, releasing that grip. And again, just walking the hands out in front of you. So if you were able to go on the forearms last time, maybe this time not so much because it's a different side of the legs, and that's okay. Just finding your range of motion, seeing if you can breathe through any space. Letting the low back open up, release, letting the hip flexors gently open up as well. And we'll just take a calm breath in and a calm breath out. When you're ready, we'll walk the hands all the way back. So you can gently roll over the knees or take a side seat, and we're going to come all the way up into a tabletop. Shoulders over the wrist, hips over the knees, fingertips spread nice and wide. Kind of like you're gripping onto a basketball. And then spine is nice and long. Gaze is looking straight down. On your next breath in, we'll lower the belly, open up the chest. Gaze looks up for cow pose. And then exhale, begin to round the upper back, belly to spine, chin to chest for cat pose. And again, inhale, pulling the heart through the arms, tailbone points up. Exhale, reverse, doming the upper back, really pressing through all 10 knuckles, pressing the ground away. And just a couple more times with your own breath. Again, if you find any sticky spots, maybe just holding on to whatever pose that is, breathing through the tension, finding a little more space. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to that nice neutral spine. So tuck the toes under, engage the core. We're just going to hover the knees over the mat just an inch. Gaze is looking straight down. Neck is nice and long with the spine. We'll take one breath in, one breath out. Keeping the knees bent, we're going to take the hips all the way up and back, downward facing dog. So lengthening out the arms all the way to the tailbone, nice long line. And then when you're ready, begin to pedal out the feet. Gaze is in between the feet or the calves. Head and neck and shoulders are nice and soft. So this is probably your first inversion of the day, so just be really gentle with yourself. If you need to keep both knees bent, that's totally okay. I'd rather have that with a nice long spine than rounding the upper back. We definitely want to keep the spine nice and long. So if you'd like, we'll inhale up onto the tippy toes, and then exhale the heels down towards the mat. Twice more, inhale up, exhale down. Last time, inhale up, and then exhale down. On your next breath in, gentle bend in the knees, gaze looks towards the top of the mat, and we'll slowly stroll towards the top. Nice, simple walk. Once you make your way up there, just folding over the legs. Maybe grabbing onto opposite elbows, swaying side to side. And then trying to get the top of the head parallel to the mat. You want all that weight and tension in the neck and shoulders begin to release and soften with gravity. And then we'll take the fingertips back down to the ground, keeping the head nice and heavy. We'll slowly roll up one notch at a time. No rush at all. Once you make your way up, rolling the shoulders down the spine, inhale the arms all the way up. Gaze looks in between the thumbs. Exhale, begin to hinge at the hips. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands could be on the shins or top of the thighs. And then exhale, forward fold. Twice more, inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back. And then exhale, forward fold. Last time, inhale, halfway lift, crown of the head pointing towards the front of the room. And then exhale, take the hands down, stepping back to plank pose. So I'm just gonna hang out here for a breath, warming up the core a bit. If it feels good, maybe rocking a little forward and back, side to side. You can always have your knees down if you need to. So we'll stay here for one more breath in. On the breath out, lower the knees down, and then begin to bend the elbows, graze the ribcage all the way down to the belly, and then flattening the feet onto the mat. So pointing the elbows straight back, we'll inhale the chest up just an inch for a baby cobra, and then exhale down. Inhale maybe the chest a little higher this time, and then exhale down. Last time, inhale maybe to a full cobra, and then exhale down. So we'll tuck the toes under, engage the core, knees can stay down, or we'll press ourselves all the way up to a plank pose. And then take the hips all the way up and back, downward facing dog. And then pedaling out the feet again, still opening up the calves and the hamstrings. On your next breath in, we'll gaze towards the top, slight bend in the knees, and again, we'll walk all the way up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Keeping the knees bent, we'll slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. Rolling the shoulders down the spine, inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, swan dive down with control. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, take the hands down to the mat and stepping back to plank pose once more. Stay for the breath in. And then on the breath out, we'll lower the knees down, bend the elbows all the way down to the belly again. Inhale for cobra. So this is enough stay here. If you're in full cobra and feel comfortable enough, begin to place pressure into the tops of the feet, lift the hips and legs up for upward facing dog. And then we'll all meet up into a downward facing dog. On your next breath in, gaze towards the top of the mat. This time, see if you can take a nice big step all the way up towards the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. This time, inhale, root to rise all the way to standing, lifting the arms, lifting the gaze. And then exhale, hands come to the third eye, and then hands come to heart center. So just finding that connection with the ground, with the mat. Lifting the crown of the head all the way towards the ceiling. We'll take a big breath in, chest meets the thumbs. And then exhale out. Wise smart. Inhale. And then exhale. Last cleansing breath. Big inhale. And then sigh it out. Beautiful. So we'll inhale the arms all the way up again. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, take the hands down, step back to plank pose. And then we'll lower down halfway or all the way, your choice. Inhale for cobra, upward facing. And then exhale, downward facing. So just finding your foundation here in downward facing dog. Checking in with your hands, making sure they're spread nice and wide. Tailbone is pointing straight up and back. On your next breath in, we'll lift the left toes up, bend the knee, open up the hip, three-legged down dog. Circling and rolling out the ankle and circling open that hip. Inhale, begin to straighten up that left leg, and then exhale, knee to chest or knee to nose, hold. Place that left foot in between the hands, low lunge. So you can always have blocks underneath your hands for this. Let the hips settle just a bit. When you're ready, we're going to spin that back heel down towards the ground. Engage the core. And we'll inhale, root all the way up, warrior one. checking in with yourself, shoulders stacked right over the hips. Sometimes this pose can feel a little awkward for people. Try to adjust your stance a bit. You can always walk that front foot out towards the left, and then your hips can be more square to the front of the room. So rooting the feet strongly into the ground and then lifting the upper body all the way up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Big breath in. On the breath out, begin to twist towards the left, just a bit. Inhale back towards the center. And then exhale, center. Inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, take the hands back down to the ground. Low lunge. Left foot meets the right. So you can go straight into downward facing dog or take your flow, your choice. And we'll all meet back into a downward facing dog. Full breath in. Full breath out. Inhale, lift the right toes all the way up. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Rolling up that right ankle. And circling open that right hip. Inhale, straighten up that right leg, squaring off the hips. Exhale, knee to chest, knee to nose. And then we'll pull that right foot in between the hands, low lunge. Again, using blocks if you need to under your hands. Let the hips settle just for a moment. When you're ready, we'll spin that back heel down towards the ground. And strong legs will root all the way up for warrior one. So again, checking in again with your stance. You can always make it shorter, longer, or letting that right foot walk out towards the right so your hips can be a little more square to the front. Calm breath in. Calm breath out. Another big inhale, reaching the arms up nice and long. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. Big breath in. Exhale, begin to twist over to the right just a bit. And then exhale, coming back. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, hands come down towards that low lunge. Right foot meets the left. And then take your flow. So we're going to stay in this downward facing dog for 3 rounds of breath. You can always come down to child's pose if you need to. But just draw a little more awareness. See if you can pull the chest through just a bit more. Grounding all 10 knuckles into the ground. And then gently pulling the heels towards the mat just a centimeter more. When you're ready, on your next breath in, we'll lift the left toes all the way up, bend the knee, open up the hip again, just for a breath. Inhale, straighten up that left leg, and then knee to nose, knee to chest on that exhale. Pulling that left foot between the hands, low lunge. Spin that back heel down, we'll inhale all the way up, warrior one. Exhale, hands to heart center. Big breath in. Exhale, twisting just a little to the left. Inhale, back towards center. Exhale, we're going to open up to the right, warrior two. And then adjusting your stance as need be. So shoulders, again, right over the hips. If this is too much on your hip flexors, you can always shorten up your stance. And then checking in with that front knee, just making sure it's stacked right on top of that ankle or a little behind. Full breath in. Full breath out. On your next breath in, we're going to reverse. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands all the way down towards the front, low lunge. Left foot meets the right. And going straight into downward facing dog or take your flow. One breath in. One breath out. Inhale, take the right toes up, bend the knee, open up the hip, three-legged down dog. Inhale, straighten up the leg, squaring off the hip. Right knee into the chest or nose, and then right foot between the hands, low lunge. Send that back heel down, and we'll inhale all the way up. Warrior one. Exhale the hands down to heart center. Big breath in. Exhale, begin to spin just a little to the right. And then exhale, coming back towards center. Full breath in again. And then exhale, opening up to the left, warrior two. Shoulders, rolling them down the spine. We don't want the shoulders close to the ears, but far away. Reaching equally with the front fingertips and the back. Feeling nice and strong in this pose, but not so rigid to where if someone came over and tapped you, you would just fall over. Find a little maybe bounce. Very easy with the pose. Finding that groundedness. On your next breath in, we'll reverse. On your exhale, cartwheel the hands down towards mat, low lunge. Right foot meets the left. And then take your flow. And again, we're going to stay here in our active rest for 3 rounds of rest. You can always come down into child's pose. Full breath in. Full breath out. Inhale, lift the left toes up, bend the knee, open up the hip. And then we'll straighten out that left leg, knee to chest, knee to nose, hold for 1 breath. And then pull the foot in between the hands, low lunge. Bend that back heel down, and we'll inhale up to warrior one. Exhale the hands down to heart center, and then opening up on a breath in, warrior two. And just settling again with the exhale. Let the upper body soften. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, tip it back, reverse your warrior. Exhale, coming over towards the front side, side angle. So forearm on top of that top side, pressing down. And extending that top arm overhead. If you have a space and if it feels good, you can take that top hand and place it to the lower back, or even find that left hip crease. And then wherever you are, we'll inhale that top arm all the way up. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down towards the mat. Low lunge this time. See if you can just kind of hop all the way towards the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise all the way to standing, lifting the arms, lifting the hands. Exhale, hands come to heart center. So we're going to come into our warrior three. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift away into the right leg. And imagine that your left heel all the way to the crown of the head is a nice long line. So we're going to begin to tip over that right leg. So if this is enough, just stay here. This is a warrior three, just modify. Maybe going a little more, still flexing that back foot. Seeing if you can find that nice long parallel line to the floor. Really engaging that right quad, not hanging out in the hip, but really engaging that right leg. Rooting down that right foot. and engaging that left glute. We'll stay here for one more breath. And then we'll come all the way back up to standing. Inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. So fingertips can be on blocks or even the ground. And then just begin to pedal out one knee and then the other. When you're ready, we'll take the hands back down to the ground and we'll just step back to our plank pose. You can go straight to downward facing or take your flow. And then when you're ready, inhale, the right toes up, bend the knee, open up, and then straighten out. Knee comes in between the chest and nose, holding for one breath. Pull the foot in between the hands, low lunge. Bend that back heel down. Inhale all the way up, warrior one. Exhale the hands to heart center. And then inhale, opening up, warrior two. Letting the hips settle. On your next breath in, we'll tip it back, reverse. Exhale, coming over towards the front, side angle. Really pressing that forearm down into that top thigh, giving space between that right ear and right shoulder. And again, as it feels good, you can always take that top arm, put it to the low back, or even find that right hip crease. Inhale that top arm, left arm all the way up. And then we'll inhale, reverse. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down towards that low lunge. And then just taking that back foot, kneading the right towards the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise all the way to standing. Hands come to prayer at the top, and then release down to heart center. So this time we're going to go onto our left leg. So just shifting that weight over to the left. We're going to begin to take that right leg in back of us. Nice long line. Crown the head to the heel of that right foot. So again, you can always leave the toes down as a little kickstand. And even if you're at home, you can always place that foot onto the wall to give you some more support. Crown of the head reaching towards the front of the room, and then heel pressing towards the back of the room, like you're holding up a wall. And then try to square out the hips just a bit more. And then engaging that left leg. When you're ready, we'll inhale all the way up to standing, lifting the arms. And then exhale, swan dive down. Again, you can have your hands on blocks or pillow. And then just pedaling out the knees, pedaling out the feet. When you're ready, we'll take the hands down, stepping back to plank pose. This time, we'll drop the knees down nice and carefully. And then take the knees out as wide as comfortable, big toes together. And then letting the sit bones meet the heels, reaching the arms out nice and long. And then placing the third eye or the forehead down onto the mat. On your next breath in, really inflate the belly between the legs. And then exhale, emptying it all out. Taking this time to just settle the body. Settling the mind a bit. And then I encourage you just to take a few more breaths. And during that time, to tell yourself one positive thing about yourself, one compliment. All of us are so full of life, full of love, full of unique gifts. And I know sometimes we don't get the chance to really see that. We see the world out in front of us, but we don't get to hone in on ourselves. But each one of you has something so special. I just want you to take this time just to tell yourself that you're amazing. Or just compliment yourself that you got here today on the mat and doing the best that you can do. And we'll take a calm breath in and a calm breath out. Walking the hands back towards the knees. And we'll just come to a side seat and then gently move the legs out in front of us. Lengthening and straightening the feet and the legs, and then flexing the toes up towards the ceiling. Using our hands or our fingertips to lengthen up the spine, opening up the chest. We'll inhale, take the arms up, and then exhale, begin to hinge at the hips. Find your length, find your range of motion. If you find anything pulling or tweaking, just backing off. And then exhale, let the hands drop wherever they may, whether it's on the shins, top of the thighs, on the mat. And maybe you can reach your toes, maybe not. You can always bend the knees so the belly can lay right on top of the legs, and then you can reach your toes. And closing the eyes, just breathing into the backs of the legs, breathing into the low back and shoulders. As more space is created as you breathe, maybe just inching out the feet, the ankles a bit. Again, no need to force into any particular pose. Just listening to your body and what it needs right now. We'll stay here for one more breath in and one more breath out. Inhale, begin to roll the spine all the way back up, sitting nice and tall. So we're going to come down onto our backs. If you have a block or a book or a pillow, just bring it alongside of you. We'll use that in just a moment. And then when you're ready, just slowly making your way all the way down onto your back. And then we'll pull in that right knee into the chest, pointing and flexing the foot, keeping that mobility in our ankles, which is so important for us. And then we'll take the right arm out into a half T, and then gently guide that bent knee down towards the left. Gaze can look over towards the right fingertip. And again, I encourage you to close your eyes. Just let the body relax and soften. I say this in most of the classes, but with the twist, it's so good for detoxifying the body. It's a nice little internal massage on the organs. So see if you can let go of any tension. No need to grip onto the floor. The earth is there to support you. You can stay here if you need to be in this pose a little longer, but if you're with me, we'll take that knee back towards center, give it a nice good squeeze. And then we'll just straighten out that right leg. And then begin to slowly pull in that left knee into the chest, pointing and flexing that foot. Taking the left arm out into a half T, and then slowly guiding the left knee towards the right. Gaze can look over to the left fingertips. So see if you can try to keep that left shoulder onto the ground. If your knee pops up, that's okay. If you have a block or a pillow, you can always place it underneath your leg, bringing the floor to you. And again, just bringing awareness to your body. See if you are holding on to any tension, gripping, maybe even scrunching up the face, and see on your next breath in if you can just let go just a bit more. And again, if you need to stay in this pose a little longer, you can do that. If you're with me, we'll take the knee back into the chest, give it a nice good squeeze last time. And then place that foot onto the mat. And we're going to bend the right knee, place that foot flush against the mat. So both feet are on the mat, hip width apart. We're going to come into a restorative bridge. So if you have your block or pillow, we're going to lift the hips up just enough so that we can put our prop underneath our low back, our sacrum, and then gently taking our hips onto our prop. So this may be enough. You can have your hands next to your side on the floor or even on your belly. If it feels good, you can walk your feet out a little more than hip width apart and let the knees come towards midline. If you want a bit of a deeper back bend, you can always straighten out the legs. This is a great restorative pose after a nice flowing routine right before Shavasana. Just letting the mind relax and letting the body soften. Visualizing the breath every time it comes into the body. And then as you exhale, letting go of anything that no longer serves you. You can stay in this pose if you want to stay here for Shavasana. And we'll slowly make our way there. So if you have your legs straight, begin to slowly pull them in, bending the knees. Carefully lifting up the hips. And then sliding the prop out from underneath you. And then lowering the hips back down. If you need another moment to just settle up the hips and back, again, you can take the feet out wider than hip width and let the knees draw towards the midline. Nice little reset for the low back and hips. And then when you're ready, you can begin to lengthen out the legs again. Just let the feet flare out naturally. Let the arms come down towards your side, palms facing up, radiating towards the ceiling. And then tucking in the chin just a centimeter to lengthen out the back of the neck. Taking a big breath in, maybe the biggest breath you've taken in all day. Pause at the top. And then exhale nice and slow. Begin to relax the toes, the soles of the feet and the ankles. Relaxing the calves, the knees, and the tops of the thighs. Softening the hips and the pelvis. And then letting this peaceful sensation flow all the way up through the spine, into the belly, into the chest. Melting the shoulders down into the earth. And relaxing the arms all the way down to the fingertips, letting them naturally curl in. Releasing any tension that you have in your jaw. And then softening the space between your brows. Letting yourself become one with the earth, one with the source, and one with the self. When you're ready, begin to slowly come back to the room, back to your body, back to your natural pace of breath. Wiggling out the fingertips and the toes. And if it feels good, taking a nice big stretch like you're waking up in the morning. And then rolling over to your favorite side into fetal pose. Once you make your way there, taking a full breath in and a full breath out. And at the bottom of the exhale, slowly begin to press yourself all the way to a comfortable seat, keeping your eyes closed or heavy. And then we'll take the hands to heart center, bowing the chin in gratitude for taking this time, not only for yourself, but for your practice as well. And just remembering that you have enough, you do enough, and you are enough. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste. Well, thank you everyone for coming. I'm so happy all of you made it here today, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day and beautiful rest of the week. And I hope to see you next Tuesday. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks, Robert.